Covered here by the Hatch Act, limited on what I can say, and anything that's connected to political contributions from here, I would have to refer you to the DNC.
I'm asking the president's opinion, though. Does he want those people who?
No, you asked me two questions. You asked me about will he return the donations, and then you asked me about his opinion. I'm answering the first part, which is I'm covered by the Hatch Act from here. I'm limited to what I can say, and I just can't talk to political contributions or anything related to that. I cannot speak about it from here. I am covered by the Hatch Act, which I'm happy to say over and over again because we believe in the rule of law here.
The Hatch Act is a federal law that was passed in 1939, and it was intended to protect federal employees from political coercion in the workplace. The purpose being to ensure that the merit system is protected and that federal employees are advanced in federal service based on merit and not based on political affiliation. In addition, one of the other purposes was to ensure that federal programs are administered and federal services are provided for in a nonpartisan fashion. The main provisions that you need to be aware of as a federal employee, generally, there are 5 prohibitions. The first is that federal employees are prohibited from using their official authority to interfere with the results of an election. The second prohibition states that federal employees may not solicit, accept, or receive political contributions. Third, federal employees are prohibited from being candidates in partisan elections. Fourth, federal employees may not encourage or discourage the political activity of anyone with business before their employing agency. And lastly, federal employees are prohibited from engaging in political activity on duty or in the federal workplace while wearing an official uniform or insignia or using a government vehicle. In general, in terms of who's covered by the Hatch Act, all federal employees are covered by the Hatch Act with the exception of the president and the vice president. Now, having said that, under the Hatch Act, there are 2 categories of federal employees. There are less restricted employees and further restricted employees. The majority of the federal workforce falls into the less restricted category, and those employees are only subject to the 5 restrictions I discussed earlier. With respect to further restricted employees, not only are they subject to the 5 general prohibitions that I mentioned earlier, but they are also prohibited from actively participating in political management and political campaigning. And what that means in a nutshell is that these further restricted employees are prohibited from acting in concert or on behalf of a candidate for partisan office, a partisan political group, or a campaign or political party. And just to give you an idea of who's further restricted, those employees are mostly found in law enforcement or intelligence type agencies, like, for example, the FBI, the Secret Service, the Federal Election Commission, or even our office, the Office of Special Counsel, is further restricted. But for a complete detail of who's further restricted, I suggest that federal employees look at our website to get a full list of who's further restricted.